This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 1517, How to Create Habits That Stick with Minimum Effort and Maximum Results by Paula Pant of affordanything.com. And I'm Justin Malik. Happy middle of the week Wednesday, and welcome to the podcast where I simply read blogs to you for free, covering personal growth and self-help topics like mindfulness, minimalism, self-care, meditation, and a lot more. Over 1,500 episodes worth. If you like any of these episodes, I'd greatly appreciate you sharing the show with someone and getting them to subscribe. It'd mean a lot. But with that, let's get right to today's post and start optimizing your life. How to Create Habits That Stick with Minimum Effort and Maximum Results by Paula Pant of affordanything.com. You're home alone and you walk into a dark room. What do? You flip a light switch. Duh. But what if an electrician moved the location of that switch this morning? Would you reach for the new location? Nope, not yet. You'll reflexively reach for the old location until you break that habit, despite the fact that you know better. Why? Habits are more powerful than memory or knowledge. Successful people use this to their advantage. Here's how. I want to wear sunblock daily, but when I leave home, I'm distracted. Do I have my keys, wallet, phone? Do I need a jacket? How's traffic? Sunblock is the last thing on my mind. There's a biological basis for this. Limited cognition. Our brains aren't equipped to monitor the weather, plan the best driving route, and remember the sunblock. We can only focus on a few things. This isn't laziness. This is how our brains are wired. Here's why that matters. If we want to change some aspect of our lives, we need to stop relying on memory, motivation, and willpower. Instead, we need to create habits that stick. But how? How an unlikely ordinary man shocked scientists with this habit. This story, told in my own words, is from The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. In 1993, a man from San Diego named Eugene Pauly fell victim to a disease called viral encephalitis. It damaged the section of his brain that forms new memories. Eugene could still walk, talk, change clothes, and even cook, but he couldn't create new memories. He'd repeat the same sentence over and over, forgetting he had just uttered those words a few moments earlier. He didn't recall getting sick. He couldn't recognize his grandchildren. Eugene and his wife moved to a new house to be closer to their adult daughter. Eugene couldn't form new memories of the layout. His wife guided him everywhere. But something strange happened. Despite his lack of memory, Eugene started learning his way around the new house. When he felt hungry, he'd open the pantry and grab a jar of nuts. When he felt bored, he'd walk into the living room and turn on the television. But when doctors asked Eugene to provide directions to the kitchen, he'd draw a blank. He couldn't explain how to get to the kitchen. He couldn't draw a map. What happened? As it turns out, Eugene didn't memorize the layout of his home. He developed habits which are stored in a different part of the brain. The brain develops reflexive shortcuts, habits, to preserve our mental energy. Habits trump memory and conscious thought. That's why we reflexively flip a light switch when we walk into a dark room. When we work with our brain's natural tendencies, we can create stronger, faster, more effective results. The best way to accomplish anything is through mindless, automatic, reflexive, ingrained habits. How to create habits that stick. Back to the sunblock dilemma. When I leave home, my brain is occupied with dozens of distractions. I'm unlikely to remember to wear sunblock. Instead, I need to develop a habit. And this starts with finding a trigger or a cue. But how? Let's start with the current reality. I've already established two habits. I grab my house keys before I leave home. I wear sunblock when I hold the bottle. Great. How can I build on this? I can store my house keys next to the sunblock. I can't grab one without seeing the other. Soon, those two items, keys and sunblock, link together in my mind. One triggers the other. They're associated in my mind. After a few weeks, applying sunblock is as reflexive as locking the door. Success. This may sound like a small victory, but building a successful, happy life is nothing more than a series of small victories that accumulate over time. Here's my challenge to you. What habit would you like to form? Flossing, exercising, meditation, reading? When and where would you like to perform these habits? Be specific. What routines are already established at that time and place? And how can you link this new habit to your established routines? Here's an example. Goal vague, I'd like to learn how to invest. Goal specific, I'd like to read one article about cash flow focused real estate investing every weekday evening before dinner. Great, let's examine your current routines. I walk my dog before dinner. I read articles on my iPad. Okay, that's a good start, but you don't walk your dog before dinner. You return home from walking your dog. What happens next? I put the dog's leash in a drawer. I wash my hands in the hallway bathroom. Then I go to the kitchen. Excellent. Let's brainstorm ways we can connect those dots. Idea number 1, I keep my iPad in the dog leash drawer. Idea number 2, I keep my iPad in the hallway bathroom. Or idea number 3, I keep my iPad on the kitchen counter. Perfect. You're linking a desired new habit into an existing routine. See why that works? This is how to create habits that stick. You might be thinking, who cares? You read 1 article a day, big deal. But in 4 months, you'll read 100 plus articles. You'll have more judgment and confidence to make that investment, start that business, or launch that thrilling new project. That's not all. Over time, you'll develop more than just a reading habit or an exercise habit. You'll build a habit of developing habits. And that's the most effective way to convert your goals into results. You just listened to the post titled, How to Create Habits That Stick with Minimum Effort and Maximum Results by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. And I'll have some comments of my own, but first, I'd like to remind you that none of us are perfect. So why would you expect our food to be? Imperfect Foods is the only food delivery service that lets you save money and help reduce food waste. How? By buying imperfect foods grocery stores won't sell and delivering them to you at a discount. Groceries that stores won't buy include carrots with odd shapes, off-sized eggs, and more. Imperfect Foods sources directly from farmers committed to quality and delivers groceries to you for up to 30% less than grocery stores. The flexible plan I selected allows me to pick healthy and seasonal produce like cabbage and squash alongside grocery staples like eggs and bread. Quirky looking but delicious produce you might receive include discolored quinoa, slightly scarred almonds, and more. And you can read about Imperfect Foods in the New York Times, Bloomberg, and Forbes. You can also ask any of their over 200,000 satisfied customers on what they love about Imperfect Foods. Start saving time, saving money, and saving waste right now, because when you go to imperfectfoods.com/old now through February 16th, you get $10 off your next 4 orders. That's a total of $40 off. Just go to imperfectfoods.com/old to get $10 off your next 4 orders. imperfectfoods.com/old and enter OLD at checkout. And thank you to Paula. Like yesterday's author, Steve Chu, Paula writes about money mostly, and also like Steve, I've met her a couple of times at FinCon. Always a pleasure. Typically, you'll hear her featured over on Optimal Finance Daily, but obviously this article was a better fit for this show. As she said, in 4 months, you'll have read over 100 articles if you follow that 1 article a day habit. In 4 years, that's almost 1,500. So if you've been listening since 2015 when I started this podcast, you've listened to over 1,500 episodes. That's an amazing habit to build. I've learned a lot. I'm sure you have too. And those tips and examples are great. People who study habits would likely agree. If you can set up a trigger so that's something you already do every day, like getting ready for bed, if you can somehow tie that to the new habit you want to build, that'll increase your odds of success for sure. It sounds simple or overly easy, but try it out. Add that little cue into your current routine and see what happens. Definitely won't hurt. That'll do it for today. Have a great weekend if you're listening in real time. Happy middle of the week, and I'll catch you tomorrow with a post from Tynan, where your optimal life awaits.